They gon' need a couple of my thoughts, man. They don't ask me for my joints too often. Gotta give them something to keep them talking. But what they do not know is I'm a boss. My 2 cents, I got them. My 2 cents, I give them. My 2 cents, don't doubt them. My 2 cents is realer. My 2 cents, I got them. My 2 cents, I give them. My 2 cents, don't doubt them. My 2 cents is realer. You ain't asked us for it, but we give it anyway. This the real 2 cent show. Go get them, Lady J.
Welcome to The Real 2 Cents. You didn't ask us for it, but we give it to you anyway. Real topics discussed by real people who give their real 2 cents. And I'm your host, Lady J. And today's topic is social media and relationships. And my guest is none other than my good friend, Keith Omar Jackson.
Yes.
Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
No problem. So me and Keith have this running joke, or, I'll say him and a lot of other mutual friends have this running joke where I don't know if he's going to be Keith today, who is, the more reserved, laid back type, or Omar, who's just out of control. So let's see who we get today on this episode of Social Media and Relationships. But before we get into that, can you tell everyone a little bit about yourself?
All right, my name is Keith Omar Jackson. I am a proud black man who really just pay attention to how we are in society, and also trying to change the narrative of what the masses think of black men. So, I have a couple of social media platforms that obviously, getting on with you guys. But, yeah, that's about it for me.
All right, so this topic of social media relations, we've talked about this a couple times before on Pillow Talk and, Purpose Driven on y'all show before and, on social media period. So I think that this is always a good topic because it is ever evolving and we see it across social media all the time in all of these relationship groups and questions that people are posing, to strike up conversation. So I thought that this was a really good topic for the first season of the show because I think that when COVID came around, it forced a lot of us to have to look at ourselves. We have to sit with ourselves in silence and really see, how we really are and who we really are. And then it tested everybody's relationships. Being in the house 24/7 with the person who, you know what I'm saying? And I think for a lot of people, they realized that they didn't really know each other or didn't really like each other. Then for other people, some people found love in during COVID, and especially with social media being the only way to communicate, especially if if your spouse is away or your significant other is away, if they're a truck driver or work long nights or long distance relationships. So with that being said, a lot of people have this notion that social media is now I saw somebody put out there, is now one of the number one causes of failed relationships. So, and you know me, okay? Because my thing is, social media cannot make a decision for you, okay? Social media cannot ruin a relationship. Ignorant people and immature people in relationships that use social media destroys your relationship. So, tell me, what's your take on that?
I'm with you on that. That's kind of like saying, guns kill people. No. Stupid people with guns kill people.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So somebody got to pull the trigger. The gun can't do it itself.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So that's how social media is to me. I look at social media just like a weapon. You know what I'm saying? It could be used for the greater good or total destruction.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? That's just kind of up to the person who's using it, So that's just kind of my take on it. I think like we were talking, like you were just saying something about people getting to know their significant other or didn't know nothing about their significant other. I think also people got to know that they didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
They thought they knew who they were. Because I say we as people, we hold different masks. We hold a mask up at work. We hold a mask up at church. We hold a mask up with friends. We hold a mask up with another group of friends. So a lot of people aren't the same person all the time. So now when you sit and you're forced to be isolated, you got to sit there and figure out which mask you're going to wear for yourself. And I think a lot of people just start to kind of figure that out, like, man, am I really this person? Or am I really that person? Or am I really, you know what I'm saying? So, and that's a dangerous thing, because the reason why I say I think it's dangerous is all depending on what you allow influence you will decide what it is that you're gonna be.
Right.
So I think that to me that was the most interesting thing I got out of the whole pandemic so far.
Right. So when we talk about social media relationships, I mean, let's be honest, there are people who you see envying those who put out pictures on social media like, oh, look at my boo, my babe, he loves me or she loves me, and look at what he did. Oh, I got some flowers, and they only see, because see, the problem
good.
is a lot of us only put out the good.
Bad, right.
None of us ever talk about the trials and the tribulations that we go through in our relationship as if, so like our relationship is perfect, and that's what everybody's like, oh, I can't wait till I get a husband, or I can't wait. The single people are, envious of the married people, and the married people look at the single people like, boy, I remember when I was single, I wish I was, exactly. And ain't neither one of y'all happy with, where you are. But you also have those people though, who do that, but at the same time, be sliding in the DMs.
Man, listen.
Okay, and it ain't just the men now, because it's the women too. It's the women too. But and knowing that you have a significant other, and then because these are just the 3 areas we gonna touch on, okay, in this show. And then the last area is, you see a lot of these now social media. All these social media pages where it's both the people in the relationship on the page. So to me, that says a little bit that you're insecure or something. But okay, so let's start with those who portray their relationships to be one way, and then they are using social media to disrespect the person that they're with by sliding DMs, you know what I'm saying, sexting, and trying to meet up with people and all this other kind of stuff. So I mean, those actions on social media is what leads to the fail of a relationship.
Yeah.
And I think that it is the responsibility of the individual that has the obligation to the person that they're with to own up to that and stop trying to blame social media for that. And then the other person on the receiving end, 9 times out of 10, the person's relationship, because a lot of people have their relationship status, but they swear up and down they don't know.
Well, let's call it what it is, especially in the city. We all kind of dibble and dabble in the same circles. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm a person that, as you know, I really don't spread myself out at all. But the funny thing is, I know a whole lot of folks. Mm-hmm. So there's no way, it's almost impossible for me not to just do a little bit of digging and find out.
Right.
It's just almost impossible. You know what I'm saying? So at that point, what you're doing is you're doing what I used to do in my 20s. What I used to do is I'm not gonna ask questions I don't want to know nothing about. It's not because in my idea I used to feel like it's not my obligation for me to find out what you got going on when you the one approaching. You're younger, you think that way. I look at the big picture now. Look, I don't know what he knows, but whenever he finds out and he didn't know, chances are he gonna come to me with it. I've had that happen, man, so many times it's ridiculous. And I'm not a drama dude at all. You know what I'm saying? But I've had it happen. So I can just imagine for those who love and indulge in drama how that plans out. That's just crazy to me. But those are selfish people. That's what they are.
So, because, me personally, I've had to screenshot a couple people and put on my page. I've had some people disrespect me and the relationship my man on a status that ain't got nothing to do with relationships. I mean, for real. People talking about, can I lick your toes and all sorts of kind of foolishness right on my page where everybody can see. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, are you serious right now?
They don't care.
Exactly.
They really don't care.
So what I'm saying is people use social media as a tool to try to one-up people now too. That's another thing. As to say, I've had people say, well, I'll give you $1,000 if you just sleep with me. Like, do I look like a prostitute? Do I look like I'm struggling for some penis?
But no.
This is what y'all are doing on social media. And I think that for some women, I think the reason why, because I've heard men say that 9 times out of 10, if a man gets the response that he wants, he'll continue to use that line because it works. And what that means is if you get more people that respond to it versus the people who don't respond to it, then in his mind it works. And so for some of us women, I feel like women who engage in that, who are in relationships and who take that as a compliment or flattering, it makes us look bad. The ones who are trying to be respectful of our relationships or marriages or whatever the case may be.
I'm gonna roll with that. Because you've been on my page more than enough. And I can come up, I think what happens is too often people take light of things. And what I mean by that is, you can't hear a tone when you're typing.
True.
So you just take word for word value. And it's based off your interpretation. You got to remember, anytime you're reading something, you're basing it off of how you feel, what you generated out of that, versus how it was written. Because I might have wrote it a way that you took it a whole nother way. That's happened so many times on my page.
True.
You've witnessed that.
True.
That's happened so many times on my page. You know what I'm saying? And I think it's hilarious, though, because I love it. And it sounds like it's drama, but it's not to me. The reason why is because I get an idea of how, psychologically, how somebody's thinking now. And it gives me an idea of what kind of person they might be. I can't say that's who they are, but it gives me an idea of what they might be. And what I like about that is I know how to approach that person now. I know how to get that person's attention. I know how to agree to disagree with anybody. So, I know how to fan them off. But I think what people don't understand is there's power in words. And they just use them so loosely. And what kills me on social media is people use social media to be a whole different person than who they are in person. And then they all of a sudden they'll feel like, well, I don't understand, when I'm out in public and this and that and that. Well, you portray yourself as one thing over here.
Yep.
And that, unfortunately, that bleeds over. You're not a cartoon character, darling.
Right.
You somebody. And people, put both of them together. They don't know you personally, but they know you, social media wise. And they they're intent to believe that's who you are.
Right.
That's what you portray.
Right. I think, though, with social media, there has to be some sort of rules. Now, I'm all for people who have this mindset that you're single until...
Not me.
I'll say to an extent.
I already know where you're going.
I'll say to an extent, because here's the thing, because everybody doesn't think the same.
Absolutely.
So if your stance is you're single until you're married, and that's how you see yourself and everybody else. So let's just say, for instance, I don't know if you're still in a relationship, or not, but I'm in a relationship. Okay, I'm not even engaged. You know what I'm saying? We're not. You know what I'm saying? We're not married. So most people will say, well, you're still single. Now here's the problem with that. Now, if that's how you feel, that's how you think, that's cool.
Right.
So I'll say I won't be rude in my response if you come at me as hey, Lady J, can I take you out? Okay, I get that all the time, or I like you, or whatever. Right. Okay, well, thank you, I appreciate it, but I'm taking,
Absolutely.
and some say, well, let me just take you out one time so you see, like, there's nothing you're gonna be able to say, or do that's gonna change my mind,
Absolutely.
you know what I'm saying? Unless I feel like I want to, and that's it, you know what I'm saying? But and I think that's one way to be respectful when you're using social media to do that and approach someone who's already in a relationship. Now, if they married, now you've already been crossed the line. Okay. Now, if you are someone who feels that if I'm in a relationship and I'm committed in this relationship, then I'm off the, off the market. I don't consider myself single because I'm in a relationship.
Right.
I don't understand that mindset, though, really, for people who say that I'm single until I'm married. I'm like,
yeah, I don't get that.
But whatever. Okay. But so if that's the case, and if you are the one in a relationship, or if the other person in a relationship, what you should not be doing then is going into somebody's inbox. It's stupid anyway, because once that, you don't know the type of person that you're going into it. So if they get upset or mad at your reply, all they have to do is screenshot and then put it out there.
Right.
So I'm like, to me, that's just stupid. Now, especially if you don't have my phone number or something where you could communicate with me, one-on-one. And let's be honest, for those of us who are not in the field of like psychology or like myself, or therapy or something, we don't keep things, a lot of people don't keep things confidential. So like, there are some things that people may tell me or express to me that I'm never going to tell anybody else.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And it just stays between us. But everybody's not that way. Right. So you can't expect that on social media. So I feel like there should be some rules in place for those of you who are not in relationships, You know what I'm saying? Engaging with those who are in relationships. There should be nobody trying to engage with anybody that's married on social media. Let's just be, if you are married, you shouldn't be stepping out, because I've had a couple wives in my inbox, you know, saying that they saw their husbands in, you know, messaging me, okay, well, did you read my response back? Because that matters.
But see, I'm a firm, hold on, but I'm glad you said that, because I'm a firm believer of you should never approach the other person. You always approach the person who owes you loyalty.
Exactly.
You should never approach the other person.
You'd be surprised at how many wives have been in my inbox.
Listen, I'm glad you said that, because I've had a couple boyfriends hit my inbox before, like, yo, why you inbox on my girl? Player, I don't know what you're talking about.
Right. Did you see them inbox me first?
I don't even entertain. Like, I don't even, because she hit me, I don't even reply.
Right.
Like, I don't reply.
Right.
I just act like, oh, well.
Now I will say I have replied, especially there was a couple I know, both the wife and the husband, and I will reply if that person is out of pocket. Oh, I'm gonna tell you about yourself. And you know, you ask, take me on a date. Is your wife coming too? Because I would be more than happy to sit down with you and your wife for some coffee. I sure would. But if she's not gonna be there, I'm not gonna be able to be present. But you know what I'm saying?
I find it funny that, like, people like that, I totally fly off of them, period. And the reason why is because what you're telling me is you see me a certain way. And what I need to show you at that point is I need to cut you off. Because you see me that certain way, I need to cut you off. I don't want you to feel like you know I'm in a relationship and I'm the type of person that would step to the side off that. I don't want you to feel like that. I don't want you to feel like I'm that dude at all. I don't know where you came up with that idea or feeling for you to even ask. But because you ask, I have to cut you off. Because you know where I stand with this. You know where I'm at with this. You shouldn't be asking me that question. That's disrespectful to me. Not even to her, but just to me. And
I know for me, I used to be like you too, where I will say I still do ignore some people. But I will say that, you know, my significant other told me once, he was like, well, if you don't reply, that's kind of like leaving it in the air or making them think that it's okay. So then I started replying. Now, I'm not one of them rude people that be like, oh, you little ugly nigga, why you? I'm not one of them. I'm like, okay, thanks for the compliment, but hey, you know, I'm taking or whatever. Now, but here's the thing. For people who follow me, I'll just say on my personal page, I mean, shoot, I'm at 5,000 people. It's on my page. Right, you know what I'm saying? Like, there's nothing that would suggest that I'm single. Even though I don't post him often at all, everybody knows. But, you know what I'm saying? So I'm like, if you come at me a certain way, then you're going to get that same energy back.
Just watch one show.
Exactly. But and then you get blocked. So I guess to him, it felt like it could be a little bit disrespectful if I didn't reply, because I kind of leave that open.
I understand that.
But I don't think that people who are in relationships I think they should make it clear, you know what I'm saying? If a person swears up and down that they don't know, you know what I'm saying? I think you should make it clear that, hey, I'm in a relationship. Now, when you start to engage though with somebody on social media and going back and forth and trying to keep things secret, I think that it is ignorant. It's ignorant, first of all, to use social media to engage in that kind of activity in a relationship or in a marriage. But when you start to do it consistently too, you have way too much evidence that somebody can use against you to show, you know what I'm saying, that, hey, this is what the nature of the relationship is, and this is what's going on, blase, blase. And now you got all your business out there, you know what I'm saying, for everybody to see. So now you're hashing it out in front of everybody. And so then this to society or to everyone who uses social media says, well, see, this is why social media doesn't work for relationships. This is why, because see, there's a question that floats around. I know y'all see it every couple months that says, would you disconnect your social media to have a healthy relationship? Why should I have to disconnect my social media to have a healthy relationship? How about you be a healthy person first? You know what I'm saying? And understand how to maneuver in a relationship. Because if you're not mature enough to be on social media without being quote unquote police. Tempted to the
you gotta be police.
You know
I gotta be police to be on social media.
I just think that's ignorant. What do you say about that? About people who feel like they should have to get off of social media because their significant other says, well, I think you should get off social media because.
If you're one of these people, you need to work on yourself. Straight up. No, seriously, though. You do need to work on yourself, because that means you have too many insecurities, and you should be securing yourself to say, okay, I know how to select the person I'm with to be able to trust them like I would trust me. See, I'm a firm believer of you're a reflection of whatever it is that you don't want done. So if you don't want someone to do you a certain way, it's because you have done it. And you don't want to bounce back on you. Mm-hmm. Like I have just one rule in a relationship with me, really. And that's if you have to think about whatever it is that you're about to do, think about it as if I was there, would you do it? So if you the flirty type of person, if I'm standing right there, would you flirt with that dude? If you would, okay, go ahead. Yeah. But if you wouldn't, you should just shut it all off.
If you married or in a committed relationship and you bold enough to sit there and flirt with somebody,
wait, hold on.
You asking to get smacked.
It has happened to me. Listen, it has happened to me.
That is so disrespectful.
This lady was, man, it's crazy. So I was, where was I at? I was at church. I was at church a few years ago. Just a few years ago.
Church.
Man, and this lady, I felt uncomfortable because she was flirting with me. And her fiance literally was like 3 steps away watching it. I was like, thank you. I was awkward. I was like, okay. Somebody come save me, please. Yolanda, hey girl, how you doing? Like, I was like, Lord have mercy, what just happened? Like, what just happened? I even asked my friend, like, she was like, oh yeah, that's what she do. Like, I'm sitting there thinking to myself, hey, he ain't tripping on that. I was like, I understand that's some people's nature. I get that. Mm-hmm. But I don't like that with me. You look, you got somebody. You shouldn't be playing. I always say this. It's one thing to pay a compliment. Mm-hmm. It's another thing to be flirty.
Right. I think that I think too, a lot of people mistake compliments on social media too as you trying to talk to me. So I've had a lot of people say, hey, I think you're gorgeous or you're beautiful, whatever. Okay, thank you. And then you just keep on. Like most women think that when a man compliments them, he's trying to holler. I'm like, no, if he didn't say, well, hey, let me get your number or what's your name, you know what I'm saying, then that's not the same thing. Mm-hmm. So I think that when you talk about insecurity in relationships through social media, why do you think that two people in a relationship would agree to be on the same social media page together? Like, do you think that the person who suggested that or the person who didn't suggest it should see that their significant other is insecure?
I think, you know what, for me, I've seen it both sides. So I have a friend who him and his wife, they share a page. Mm-hmm. And they share a page because they literally do everything together. Mm-hmm. Like literally do everything together. Okay, I get that. Mm-hmm. But I also believe some people do it to try to trick themselves to believe that they can do this. It's kind of like a what can I do to make somebody feel like this is real? Mm-hmm. And if that's something that you have to do to make your relationship feel like it's real, then your relationship is fake. Mm-hmm. It is fake. Yeah. It's a real fake.
So I think that some people do that because now I've seen couples who have a page together and then they have separate pages because like, let's say if you run a ministry together or something like that, that's cool. But I think that we should clearly define rules for social media. So you have females, and or males get upset if you put, let's say I post a picture and you got all these, kissy faces and then hearts from some, for some guys or she get, the same thing. What do you feel is disrespectful in regards to responses, the little buttons, the little faces when it comes to, or gifts, because people use gifts now too a lot.
It don't faze me. I'll be honest with you, it don't faze me. There's a reason I got her.
Okay.
Clearly they see it too.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? There's a reason.
Right.
So that don't faze me at all. I just look at it as that's kind of just, it's a compliment. Uh-huh. Unless somebody goes overboard with words.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Now, if they going overboard with words, that's a whole nother thing.
Right.
Because you have an intent behind that. Mm-hmm. Versus, heart-faced eyes, that's just a compliment. That's just like saying, oh, you cute.
Right.
Okay, I can deal with that. I'm cool with that. Like, that's fine. Mm-hmm. But now when you're sharing words like, oh, you look absolutely stunning and amazing. If I was your dude, I would. Now you going overboard, player. Now you going over. That's when I step on the page like, that's why I do it, dog. That's why I do it.
Yeah, because you got a little bit of petty you too, just like Mark.
I'm telling you.
Listen, that's
when
funny.
Omar kick in. Yeah. You right, player. That's why I do this. I do this over here. You right.
So for those though who are moved by things like that with social media, what do you think that couples should establish when it comes to social media? We already know that, soliciting sex or meeting up and stuff is inappropriate on social media. But we also need to realize that when our spouses or significant others are using social media for these things, to not blame social media. You need to be looking at your spouse. I think that's another way of ignoring flags when it comes to people that you are with, because that is a clear indication of the type of person that they are when you are not around, and how seriously they take you, and how seriously they take your relationship and or your covenant if you are married.
That's why I go with the rule of, if I was standing there and you can do it, then do it. Now, if you feel like if I was standing there and you be hesitant to do it, then you probably shouldn't do it. It's just that simple to me. It's a simple rule for me. Like, I've had friends do this to me. So I've had a couple friends from college that we've been tight. Like, anytime I see them, I give them a hug, kiss them on the cheek. Hey, girl, how you doing? Yada, yada, yada. There's nothing ever been extra, more than that. They can be with their boyfriends now. I've known you. I've been out of college almost 20 years. I'm telling my age. But after 20 years of knowing you, and you have a boyfriend, and I still can't greet you the same, that means we wasn't as cool as I thought we were. That's just my opinion. That's just my opinion. Because you should be able to turn to your mate and say, hey, that's Omar from college. That's my guy. He looked out for me X, Y, and Z. Like da-da-da-da-da-da. She should be able to run that down. And he should be comfortable with that. He should be, because I'm not going to not acknowledge him. You know me. I'm going to be, what's up, bro? I might show him more love than her just because he don't know me. You know what I'm saying? So, and I see that, and I kind of feel like it almost breaks my heart a little bit, because I feel like you should always be cool with people that you've been with. Because you have a significant other should not change your friendship with them. Now, it might change how you interact at times.
I was going to say, and how much you interact.
Right, it don't change your friendship with them, though.
Right.
And I feel like that changes your friendship.
Right. I think that, too, we need to be careful, too, about, because there are some conversations that you may have had with your, because I've ran into this, too. You have a friend of the opposite sex, and, what I'm saying, before, maybe y'all could exchange videos about, oral sex or... Once you get into a relationship, all that should cease to be.
That's just
like, that is no longer acceptable because you're overstepping a boundary that you shouldn't be. So...
that's blurry lines.
So before we give our last comment on the topic, tell everybody how they can follow you and contact you.
All right, I'm on Facebook, and I'm as Keith Omar Jackson, and I'm also on Instagram as King Keith Omar. So you can follow me there. My Instagram is just pretty much my life, just pictures of me, the kid, stuff like that. But on Facebook, I got very interesting things.
Yes, he does.
Very interesting things. Now, I come up with we have great conversation. I always say I have to have adult conversation on my page. Not mean that it's just an adult conversation, but adults having a conversation. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So on my page, we talk about everything. Talk about financing, talk about parenting, talk about sex, talk about being, comedians in your family. We just talk about life in general on my page, more or less. I'll ask questions. I'm always stirring up the pot. I don't want to say I cause problems. People will say that. I don't want to say. I just I have all the questions. I ain't got all the answers.
Okay. All right. So on this, as we close out the show, what would you like people to walk away from concerning this topic, using social media and how it affects relationships?
All right. So I think the number one, like I said, the number one thing to do to stay out of trouble really is put yourself in a position with that person. So if you out and about somewhere and you about to conduct yourself a certain way, ask yourself, would I conduct myself this way if my significant other was standing right here?
I think that if you, for me, I think that if you have to ask yourself that, you shouldn't be in that relationship. if you have to think too hard about
Mm-hmm.
what you should post, what you should be asking, who you should, if you should or should not be entertaining a person. If you're having a hard time being tempted on social media, know that you are not mature enough to be in a relationship or be married, let alone be married. And last but not least, if you are the individual on the receiving end with a spouse or a significant other like that, stop blaming social media and lying to yourself about the person that you with. Real recognize real.
Absolutely.
Accept them for who they are and know that you were just not the one. So, with that being said, this has been another episode of The Real 2 Cents. You didn't ask us for it, but we gave it to you anyway.